Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
And I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And that's all that Adrian's fucking saying this whole episode.
Yes, he has suddenly lost all of his voice and will not be saying anything for the rest of this episode.
Yep. It's probably some sort of par to subpar barbecue that he was having in Texas.
After being told multiple times which correct barbecue's place to go to.
Yep. He decides to go to the chain.
How? What's a chain barbecue spot that's in Colorado? I don't know.
There is Brothers Barbecue.
Okay.
Which is, I really like their sausage and their baked beans.
Okay.
So that's what I get there, and every time I'm like, that was real good. I don't get other things, and I don't know how. It is a chain. Okay. But I think they're from, it's like Georgia barbecue-ish a little bit, maybe. I don't, like they're from Georgia, but I don't know. Yeah. All I know is sausage is real good.
Well, now I know.
Now you know.
Now you know.
That's all I can think of in terms of Colorado.
But usually even after we greet, he usually says this is Mile High Game Guys, a board gaming podcast, right?
He does.
Okay.
And maybe I'll put that in there. Maybe
I don't know.
Who knows?
There's no way to know.
No way to know.
Because he lost his voice at the very beginning, that's why we had to edit in the rest of his voice.
Exactly.
Whenever we decided that his voice would go in.
Yeah.
I think this is our first no Adrian. Man, good luck. Anyway, editing. This I think is our first episode with just the two of us in a
since
very
like a Gen
long
Con.
time. Yeah.
It's at the very least, since it was the last one was pre-pandemic, we didn't even know of what COVID even meant.
Yeah. That wasn't a board game live stream.
Exactly.
Yeah. So barbecue is where it began. We'll try and keep it on the rails, but it probably won't happen.
No, probably not.
Because we have the same sense of humor, and
yes.
we will just continue whatever we find funny.
Yes.
God, how do you... Should we talk about board games?
Yeah, I think we should talk about board games.
Okay, good, because we gotta cut that out early, and then we can just go on to our bullshit.
Exactly.
Yes. I should start.
Yeah.
I should start.
Yes, you should.
Because you're going to talk for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to have the Jeff JIME corner.
Yes.
We got JIME back to the table. That is Lord of the Rings, Journeys of Middle-earth. We haven't played our campaign since...
It's got to be at least...
pre-Omicron? November or previous to that?
Yes, yeah. I was going to say 4 to 5 months.
Yes.
At least.
So we got JIME back to the table. So what happened is JIME had yet another expansion come out, and its last expansion.
Which expansion is that, Jeff?
That is Spreading War.
There you go.
And not Shadowed Paths, which I call it at every possible occasion.
Yep.
So we added in Spreading War into our DLC Shadowed Paths campaign.
Yep. So it still is that campaign, but now it has the ability to pull enemies, and boy does it, from the Spreading War expansion.
It sure does. So
and some of the extra cards that get added from that too.
Yeah, so Spreading War added Tier 4 equipment, which is super neat. It also added a bunch of new equipment, but that won't really matter until we start new characters, because you always have the same equipment. We haven't used any of the new tiles yet, but so we went through one scenario that we were like, I don't even remember what the fuck is going on. We went into
well, it doesn't help that the scenario itself
is like, you suddenly wake up and you're a ghost.
Yeah, and we're like, wait, how did we become a ghost? But that's how it starts.
Yeah, the scenario was like, no, you don't remember what happened to make you be a ghost. So it was very appropriate.
I was going to say, it was sort of the perfect one.
But it was also very inappropriate because you got to break all of the movement rules. And in the entire next scenario, we were like, fuck, I can't move that way. Because you could literally move through walls because you're a fucking ghost.
Yeah, and it was a cave, so not being able to move, like having to... Normal movement rules would be real shitty in that scenario. So
yes,
it had you move just however you wanted, just from one tile to an adjacent tile.
Through walls. You didn't have to go through the actual access areas. Yeah. Except
but
the
we
enemies
also had to
did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the enemies did. So there were several times where it was like, oh, well, they got you here, and it's like, oh no, they actually have to go through 4 other spaces to get to that tile that's adjacent to them. So they actually go attack this person instead.
Because all the enemies you were fighting are not ghosts.
Yep.
But some were. So some actually did, but others did not.
Yes. Do you remember which ones were the ghosts, Jeff?
They were the ghosts.
They were the ones that you pulled the mask on.
Yes. So you, as all the JIMEs go, you could make a choice of certain spots, and it could just be like, haha, objective, or haha, make a test objective. And then we found out pretty late that haha, test objective actually got you lore, which is your general experience points.
Yep.
Until it was like, oh, we keep failing these. Fuck it, pull the masks off and stab the dudes.
Well, yeah, because it's we see a guy just doing something, I forget, and it had the option of pull the mask off or do something, like try to get his attention or anything like that. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna pull the mask off.
Yep.
Because it was all about
pulling the masks off.
Yeah, it was all about getting the masks away from those people. And so I did that for the first one, and then I saw another one, I ran ahead, ripped it off, and then the third one, I want to say Julie, convinced it to just go away by doing the actual test.
Yeah.
And then that gave you the lore. And it was like, oh shit, these give you lore.
Shit.
And then on the fourth one, 2 separate people failed at the test, so it just kept going. Yeah. And I remember I ended up just being like, fuck this, we're running out, because
we were running out of time.
Especially playing hard mode, and I always feel like we're barely running out of time.
Yes.
And so I just ran over there, ripped it off, and I was just like, this is how you just don't care about one lore.
Rip it off. Just rip it off.
Yeah. You know how you're going to deny us lore is if you make us fail the mission.
Yes. So we finished that mission. It was interesting. We ended up going on to another... speaking of enemies that get thrown into your cavern system...
Yes.
So the new enemies of the new expansion are for a year-long war-esque campaign in the areas of Gondor and Rohan. So one of the enemies is just a straight-up fucking siege tower, and it was like, alright, spawn a siege tower in this cave.
Yes.
And just like... and the mini is not mini, it is fucking huge.
Yeah. We already thought it was a little ridiculous when it was like spawn the whatever their dragons are called.
The fell beasts.
Yes. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. And then it was just the fucking, alright, there's a fucking siege tower.
And it's just the mini is a siege tower, but you have to, lore wise, because of what the actual siege tower does, is it is loaded with dudes, like shooting bows and arrows out of all the windows and getting pushed by trolls or something? I don't know. But then you just have to fight a fucking siege engine, a siege tower, in the middle of a cave, or just go around, because you're a ghost. And at one point I had the option of going through a bandit, who is literally the lowest level human enemy that you could possibly imagine. I would say equal to a goblin. Maybe one single goblin has less health but more armor, but this human has an equal amount of just pure health. Or I could go through the siege engine and provoke an attack from the siege engine. You know what I did? Went through the human. Didn't go through the siege engine.
Like a smart person.
Yes. And then I touched a door, and then we found our bodies, and then we had to fight a boss, and then we almost fucking lost.
Yeah.
Because Julie didn't realize that she could activate all of the damage on her card. I was like, your card sure does do not much damage.
Well, what's funny, too, is that it mentions in there of, like, this enemy, this final boss appears, and it's like, hey, there's some, like...
Your bodies are glowing.
The bodies are glowing. Interacting with them might be able to help you defeat it. And it was like, oh, maybe it'll do some damage to it or something like that. No, it just gives you the ability to do smite, and... by running in and doing that, it caused me to not be able to attack attack it at all.
Yep, which would have done significantly more damage than be able to do smite on your not being able to attack for the rest of the scenario.
Exactly. Yeah, so we really thought we were fucked, but we were able to...
Barely.
We got exactly as many.
Yes.
And I want to say there are 1 or 2 times where it was like, let's not, like... there's a better way to do this. Let's, you should have remembered this, so we're going to give you this, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So...
It's a little shady.
Which
was...
It's a little, but it's a cooperative game, and it's not like we were just like, you know what, we just beat it instead, right? It was still, we were like, better thinking about it, we should have done this instead, that, like, especially with an app, there's only so much you can, quote-unquote, take back. Yeah. So, I don't, and also, it's a cooperative game, we're there to have fun. I don't care as much about that, so.
Then we went on to another scenario, which we did better.
Yes, that one was about helping people in another cave.
Yeah, so like this one has like a choose your own adventure part, but you can only do like 3 of the 5 parts, and it keeps telling you like bad things happened on the other 2 parts you couldn't do. But the scenario,
I was gonna say you keep forgetting. Like I kept forgetting that, so I was like, wait, but I thought we won. Why are bad things happening?
Yeah, it was like we didn't do the treasure room part, and we didn't do like the guard captain part, and so then like the guard captain isn't able to keep control of his troops, and then like the dude got poisoned because we didn't do the treasure room, and someone found his goblet in the treasure room and poisoned it. I don't fucking remember because that was a long time ago. But this next one the scenario we did was based on one of the scenarios we did do for our choices, which was like save the farmers from all the worms. And then we discovered that we needed to save all the farmers from all the worms because all the worms were trying to dig under the walls to, what is digging under the walls to plant explosives called? It's not sabotage. It's engineers and digging and saboteurs.
I forget
there's a word for sappers. Sappers is the word I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
Except it's worms. The worms are sapping.
Yep.
We did that one, and it was cool. And
one interesting thing that one had was like there were normal people just stuck in the cave, and I was like, oh, you could go help them, and by helping them, you led them out of the cave, and so you teleported back to the beginning of the cave, and it was about getting towards the end of it.
Yes.
So twice we saw people get teleported, and I was just like, God damn it.
You say people, but one was a people, and the other was a horse.
That is correct. Horses are people, Jeff.
But the people lost his shoes.
Yes.
Because he was so lost in the caves. He lost his shoes.
Had some cracked glasses. He was a mess.
It was a mess. And then Legolas was like, I'll get you to the start.
Yep, and then a bunch of enemies appeared in between.
Yep, and I guess Legolas isn't getting to the end.
Yep.
That one took some tight planning to be able to get to the end, because we had to fight a worm witch and her mount, and kill the mount, and then kill her.
And then was it you or Julie that just killed in like one shot each?
I think I had my way with the mount, but I don't remember the worm witch exactly.
Okay.
But I do remember doing a significant amount of damage a couple times.
Yeah. Yep.
My level 12 experience thing that let me get as many successes as I had, like, depletion tokens on one item, so that would be like 3 extra successes, and I was like, well, that's like more successes than I can even use. But then I got another skill that just lets me add an additional success onto anyone's weapon when they fight, which is like 4 damage and smite.
Smite?
Yeah,
which is pretty
just for
fucking
one
big.
success. They're like, hey, just, you know what? Take a 1 success, 4 damage, 1 smite. On me.
Now that's some fucking kinship right there.
Absolutely. That's support dwarf, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Look, that's what us support dwarfs do. We support. I support by being like, I'll take the hit, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I will have to say I am really enjoying just having the high strength, but then also with the shield and the armor and stuff, because it's just like I get automatic successes, and then I'm like, I'm ignoring these, so you hit me for 5 combination of damage and fear. I'm only going to take 1 of it, and taking that 1 of it makes me stronger. So thank you for that.
And I had played that character as well, but you were playing Gimli with that, item build, and I played. I don't remember who it was. Was it Ballin that had the sword and shield before?
It might be, yeah.
There's no way to know.
No way to know.
So yeah, we've got JIME coming up whenever we schedule it again. But then we'll have brand new expansion campaign beyond that.
Yeah.
With 6 new heroes and 6 new classes that we all have to sleeve because everything else is sleeved. And it's not going to fit in the fucking box anymore, that's for sure.
Oh, God, no. All right, so yeah. Well, look, we'll just let Broken Token know that you're interested in expanding that.
Yeah, I love spending money at Broken Token now.
Yeah.
There's no way that says something happened with Broken Token.
I don't know. Something, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. I think they have a Quacks box that you can get for them now, too.
I'm good. I've got enough stuff going on. It's...
What about Dinosaur World? Do you want a Dinosaur World insert?
No. Because I don't have Dinosaur World. Is that what that's... Yeah, it was not good.
It was boring.
Yes.
Because they added literal boring tokens.
Yep. No, like how apt.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what you played, right, Jeff?
That's all I played, because I didn't go to game night, because it was snowing, and it took me 2 hours to get home, and I was like, fuck everything except me staying here, and that's it, especially because I had to go to work the next morning after that fucking... And it took me an hour 20 to get to work the next morning.
Do they let you go in late, or is it you still have to be there?
I mean, even if I leave on time or early, as long as I'm there before, 8, it's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's all I played.
So I did go to game night because even though I was already at home, I was like, fuck it, I got nothing better to do. What am I going to do? Edit a podcast and have it release on time, Jeff?
No.
No, it's not. That's not what I do.
You have at least 50% less tracks you have to deal with.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
Well, no, there's still 3. It's just, one is mostly not there.
One is mostly muted, yes. All right, so when I got there, Adrian and Megan were playing Scoville because he had mentioned that he bought it recently, and so they were playing it. And once they were done, Lance had appeared, and he was like, "Hey, look, I got
Lance appeared."
A wild Lance appeared, and he was like, "Hey, I got that Red Cathedral game, one of my 2 favorite games that I played from BGG Con." And I was like, "Oh shit! I wanted to buy it, but I just didn't see it anywhere." So I was like, "Adrian, I want you to play this game because I really enjoyed it, and I think you would probably like it too." So it was Lance, Adrian, Megan, and I played, and it was still enjoyable. It took a little while to set up and explain it to people, but it's definitely a game that, after you do that brief explanation, getting a couple rounds in, you're like, okay, now I have sort of a better idea, and then the strategy for picking placement or claiming spots on the actual cathedral itself.
It's like a die worker placement rondelle.
Yes. So there's 2 main parts of it. One is a delivery thing. You get resources and then you deliver them. You are once you deliver enough resources to build a section, then that gives you a claim towards that tower, and then it's sort of whoever has the most on that tower gets the most points, and then second gets half, etc. So it's a not area control, just majority there. Yeah. And then the other main part is the dice round, because you choose. There are 7 different spaces in the rondelle, and you choose a die and you move it that many spaces, and you get to do wherever you land that action for however many dice that are there. And so you're trying to plan things out to be like, I want to move this here to get it, to get 2 gold instead of 1, or you're trying to get money. And it's all about balancing, because you only have a certain amount of space on your board for resources, so you're trying to only gain the resources you want, because you can't get rid of them if you don't need them, if you don't use them. Mm-hmm. So it's all about getting the ones you do care about and trying to avoid the ones you don't really. There are various powers and stuff like that, but I still really like the game. It was fairly close at the end. I believe Megan ended up winning by 2 or 3 points.
Okay. It's tight.
And then tight. I was second, and then Adrian was a little bit farther back. He still didn't have a good handle on how the end game scoring was until it was sort of too late in a way. So it definitely would be, doing better the second time because he actually knows more about what's going on.
Yeah.
But it is in sort of classic fashion. Like when things weren't going his way in that game, it was very like fuck this game, blah, like all that stuff. But he ended up messaging Lance and I later, and he was like, just in case it wasn't clear, my fuck this game comment was a joke, and I actually enjoyed the game. So he did. But yeah, no, that's one thing I like is that it doesn't have. So the game is really hard to do. Like it can do long-term planning in terms of like what you like, the long-term planning is like which sections do you want to build, and then the short-term tactical stuff is choosing like on the die choosing those to best suit you. But it doesn't have a lot of that mid-term planning.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like you can't just like you can look at the board state, especially with 4 people, and be like, I want to do this, and then but if there's like 3 people before you. Or 2 people before you, they do their stuff, and then it could change to where, like, well, now I can't do the thing I need to do, so it's hard to plan, like, turns ahead. So you can do an overall plan of what the things you want to get, and then you can do the short term of this is what I need now, but it's hard to plan for 1 or 2 turns ahead.
It's a pretty small game, too?
Yes. The box is a lot smaller than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see that when Boyd had originally shown it to me.
I see.
It was like after, like it was off to the side, so I didn't grok it as much. And also, it's only like $35 or something. So it's like there's a lot of game in that, I think. One downside is there's a lot of game, but like that's already the full game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That it doesn't get more than that. I definitely enjoy it, but it's also you can't be like now that we've played, here's how we really like amp it up. It's just that's the game.
It's like
so
what you see, it's what you get.
Exactly. But I would definitely say for anyone to try it out because
it came out last year sometime, about a year ago.
I want to say it was 2020. Yeah, sometime around there.
It seemed like a lot of reviews were coming out a year ago.
Yes, yeah. So that's what I played at game night, and then on Saturday,
October 2020, let's say.
Yeah, okay, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Late 2020, yeah. On Saturday, I joined in a game of Twilight Imperium, 4th edition, with Prophecy of Kings expansion, for an 8-player game. I know your Switch hasn't reset yet, Jeff.
Yeah. My TI Switch is not there yet.
Nope. And so, yeah. It was actually, I want to say, like 3 or 4 weeks ago that we were like, hey, we should get a game. Like, I think somebody started
mentioning, let's play. And like, who the fuck? Okay, sure.
Yeah, I want to say it was like people were talking about TI4 during MHCC, the one that's upcoming
which is happening
in May.
Again in May.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to play that because I've already played it. I played it last time, and I was like, that took a lot of time. It took a lot. It took less time than you thought.
Yes,
we thought it was going to take. But it still took a lot of time comparative to the entire. Like there was, I could have played 3 or 4 games during that.
It was a chunk.
It wasn't that.
It was a good chunk. It was a good
big chunk. Yeah. And then also when I was done with it, I was like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to play anything like heavy or
I've mostly done
too
playing
much
games for today.
Exactly. Yeah. But someone mentioned it, and then it was like, hey, let's start looking for people. And I got tagged on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not playing it at MHCC, so this is a good time for me to play it.
Everyone kept tagging me, and then we were like, well, I guess Jeff didn't say anything, so he doesn't get a spot. And I was like, I don't give a fuck if I got a spot or
not. Yeah, so it ended up being like half of the people were people that played in MHCC. There were a couple new people and a couple people that only played like once or twice. Yes,
Pat played Thursby, you, Paul,
and Paul,
Legal,
and Ryan.
Yes. Then we had a new person,
Travis, who we met. We met.
Yeah,
actually, we actually met him at Gen Con.
I was there. I dropped off beer, and I forgot to say, like, did Thursby kill your cat Pixel? I totally forgot to be like, hey, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, because I just dropped in for a hot second to drop off some beer around noonish, because I thought that would be the time where everyone was like, it's beer o'clock, because I can't handle this shit anymore.
No, but there was before that even, I want to say at 11, around 11, people were like, I should start drinking now.
Yeah, that timer, the beer timer, kicks in pretty early on a TI4 game.
Yep. Okay, so
is that
it was us.
Also
Wes.
I
don't
know
if you said Wes.
Also, I did not say Wes, but also Wes.
Yeah, and so just as a rundown of who we're playing, I'm not going to mention them a lot because it's only so much that I can actually talk before my throat just gives out.
Yeah.
For this, so we had Paul as the Necrovirus.
Yep.
We had Wes as the Embers of Muat. We had Thursby as the
Bird people.
The Ardent Flight.
Yep.
Argent Flight. Yep. I was the. Oh god! The Winnu. Ryan. Yep. Ryan was the
Turtles.
Turtles. Yes, exactly. The Turtles. Let's see who was on the opposite side. Legal was the Yssaril tribes.
That's
Travis.
That's the free action card people.
Yes, the shitload of action cards, and then also, so they changed it from TI3. In TI3, you could just pass every other turn. Now you have to spend a card to pass.
Yes.
Now, they get a shitload of cards, so it's effectively the same because, half the cards you normally get
But now they have less cards while they do.
Now they have less cards, exactly. It gives them a cost, something to consider in order to do that.
Yeah.
They can't literally just every other turn be like, I'll pass for right now. I'll pass for right now. Although near the end, that's what it sort of was. Anyway. So then Travis was.
I'll pass Imperial.
Yeah. Travis was. I can't remember what he was off the top of my head. But Pat was. Ooh, okay, I thought I accidentally hit pause. I'm going to get my hand away from the keyboard. Don't do that. But Pat was the Nomads, one of the new races.
Okay. And that's.
And like I said, I can't think of what Travis was at the moment. And
he was mostly furthest away from me. I could probably look at the picture I took and then figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I was also gonna
keep talking.
Yeah. You look that up. So that was us. We got there at 8:00 in the morning. Unfortunately, Paul was supposed to get shit set up the night before, but he didn't. So we spent about an hour and change getting the board set up. And then we just
something Arboric?
Oh, the Arboric. Yes, that's what it was. The plant people.
Plant people.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So we got the board set up, and then we randomly did seating in the sense of just people just chose whatever seat they wanted.
Yeah.
Wes, as the Embers of Muat, was like, there was a supernova near him, and he just sort of hung out around that area until people sat down, and he sat down right there. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I saw that Hope End was sort of near this chair, like that there was like in this area, and I was like, I'm going to hang out in this area because I like Hope's End.
Yep.
Hope's End is a legendary planet that every round, basically, you can get a free mech or draw an action card.
And you've had it in every game I've played of the last 3 games.
Exactly.
Including online.
Yes. It's great. It's a great planet. What can I say? Especially because I was the Winnu. And the Winnu, their main thing is about Mechatol Rex, right? Their 2 abilities are literally, you don't need to spend influence to get Mechatol Rex. So if you are not the first person to get Mechatol Rex, that power is wasted.
Yep.
And then the next one is, whenever you get Mechatol Rex, when you get Mechatol Rex, you get to also put down a PDS and a space dock on there.
You get Mechatol Rex with shit.
Yes. And if you happen to have a mech when you invade it, you also, my mech ability was, when this is involved in a tactical action in which you take a planet, you get to either add a PDS or a space dock. So I was able to immediately be like, I'm on Mechatol Rex and I have 2 PDS and a space dock here. Awesome. For no influence spent.
Sure.
So my first turn, I ended up going to Hope's End. I was 2 spaces away, so I made sure that I got Warfare, because I was like, I'm getting Hope's End this turn. I actually was trying to get Mechatol in the first turn, but I had... Because the Winnie are basically, you get 1 tech of whatever you want that doesn't have any prerequisites, and I was holding my cards sort of cocked, and I was just like, oh shit, I can do this gravity drive, and that gives me a +1. I had covered up that it needed a blue tech for it.
I see.
So I wasn't able to do it. Had I been able to afford tech that round, it could have happened, like if the timing of it went well, but it didn't happen, so, which is fine. But it's fine. I was able to get Hope's End on my first turn, and then on the next turn, Thursby went before me, and he did these, and I took Imperial because I'm like, I'm getting this turn. So Thursby made the correct move of, he was adjacent to me on Hope's End. He went and attacked Hope's End. And it's good that he didn't like go get Mechatol and then like have me go get Mechatol, because my commander ability is, once I engage in Mechatol, like I either enter Mechatol or I start a combat in Mechatol, then I get to use my combat ability, or my commander ability, which is on home systems, legendary planets, and Mechatol Rex. I get +2 to all attacks, which is
insane,
ridiculous. Yes, yeah. So he went and he came and attacked me before I got access to that power. I was able to hold him off with fighters because I had, like, he had anti-fighter barrage. His the Argent Flight are like, they specialize in destroyers, so theirs are better than everyone else's. But he whiffed on that. I think he maybe got 1 hit, and then when we actually started fighting, he rolled 2 hits, and I had a shield holding, which let me cancel 2 hits. So it let me absorb that, and I was able to do enough damage to fight him off, which was good, because then I went and attacked. Then I got Mechatol, which gave me a point because I was the first person to get there. And then on my next turn, I played 8, the Imperial, to get a point and then also score a public objective. So at the beginning or middle of the second round, I was at 3 points. 2 people were at 1 point, and everybody else was at nothing. So, understandably, people kept fucking with me.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
And no, not rightfully so, Jeff. It was very rude and uncalled for.
How dare everyone pick on me? Don't you know that blank is going to win?
Yes, exactly. So a couple rounds went through, people started catching up. I'll tell you this, the first time Thursby attacked me on Hope's End, I was like, he's doing this to stop me from getting Mechatol Rex. The second time he went to attack me on Hope's End, I was like, he needs Hope's End for something. So let me just make this fucking, so I think I had maybe 1 ship on there, so he just rolled those over. But my mechs, they get a +2. They had sustained damage. And I was able to unsustained damage one of them, to you repair it. And so they were hitting on 4s, and he had a bunch of infantry, but they were just hitting on 9s. So my guys were dug in there, and so he had the control of the space, but I had control of the planet. And I was like, this is what he wants, so I just need to make sure that he doesn't get this. Which I did basically until the end. He was able to get it at the end because he had a secret objective that was win a fight in a legendary planet, or it was destroy the last of somebody's troops on a legendary planet or home system or something like that. So he was able to finally get that secret, but I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense why you're trying to get it. And it's funny, through the entire game, I was just like, there is absolutely no ill will between us, Thursby. I understand why you're going for that planet. I'm still cool with you. I was cool with everybody in the game. I never, I never broke any promises. There was one promise that I was going to break, but then Thursby removed my space dock, in which case I was like, I don't need it anymore. Because he got rid of my space dock on Mechatol Rex the turn before I was just going to put my flagship on there. And my flagship was, for however many non-fighter ships are in that combat from your opponent, that's how many dice my capital ship would roll. So if there are 5 ships there, I would roll 5, and it normally hits on a 7, but I'd be on Mechatol Rex, which would make it hit on a 5. So that ship would have been fucking awesome on there.
I'm sure.
But I wasn't able to get it past that, unfortunately. And then,
unfortunately,
eventually, I want to say Travis came by with a bunch of troops, and he took Plant people took the troops away from me, or took Mechatol Rex away from me, and I was never able to get it back. But that's because Thursby kept fucking messing with my shit, because my only access to Mechatol Rex was through Hope's End, and he kept attacking Hope's End.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. It also didn't help that the first objective that was out was have more planets than either of your opponents, than both of your opponents, sorry. And I was the only person to never score that through the entire time, because Thursby had 3 planets right next to him, and he had either 2 or 3 planets on his home system. Same with fucking Ryan, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm never getting that point. I was able to get a bunch of structures out, especially because of my racial ability. What's annoying is I only had 1 secret objective basically throughout the game, because I never had a chance to get another one when it was opportunistic for me to get. But it was win a combat in an anomaly, and the only anomaly that I could ever even consider getting to through the entire game was right next to my home system, and it was a nebula that Ryan had gone there, put down a PDS, and then just left, and never put another enemy down there. And it meant that, because getting rid of PDSs are basically outside of combat, because I fly in there,
you land a ground unit, and then it just
I land
explodes.
a ground through, and it he shoots, but he shoots outside of combat, so it doesn't, as far as we could tell, it doesn't count. So that was just a secret objective I just could never do.
Great.
Yeah. We had a majority of good, I will say overall, this was definitely a real good game. We had, once politics phase started, we had, just the random ones that were coming up, some good, some bad. There was a lot of stuff that I was just like, wouldn't you know it, as soon as I unlocked politics, it was like, choose a planet and destroy stuff, or hurt this person. They're like, we should fuck over Zach because he has 3 points right now.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it. I mean, I understand it, but that sucks.
I'll believe it.
And then also, after 2 rounds, there were people tied with me. So I was like, look, guys, people are already tied with me. You got to stop focusing on me like this. Once again, Paul is close to the lead. Fucking pay attention to Paul. And as the necrovirus, he can't vote in.
He votes. He decides which one he wants to win, and if that one wins, he gets to take a tech from someone on the winning team.
Yes, and so
he has a limit of how many units. He has a limit of how many faction-specific techs he can have at one time.
Correct,
but not really anything else.
No, exactly. And so I kept being like. What kept happening over and over again was like, I do not want it to go this way, because then Paul will get a tech, and then Paul is just like, it's only one fucking tech, and I'm like, it's always only one fucking tech. Every single time this happens, it's only one tech.
It's never more than one.
It's never more than one, but it's always one, and it keeps always being one, and then it's added on. And so it didn't help too that he was. Wes and Pat were adjacent to him, and they just didn't have any techs that he really wanted. So, he wasn't really attacking them to get a bunch of techs, right? So, if, Joel Nar was next to him, he'd be going to town, the entire time, right?
Yeah.
But, it was, they were real, short, because, the Embers, they have a War Sun, but it's printed on the card, or it's printed on their, race card, their faction card, so it doesn't count. Paul couldn't steal War Sun tech from him with just that.
Yeah, he can't take the Super Wars. No, he can't take the
print.
The shittier War Sun that they start with. That's worse
exactly
than the card. But when they upgrade that War Sun, I think he can take that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would become a faction-specific one that he could
Yes.
take, yeah. Or that just turns into regular.
Yeah.
Warzone from him, I forget which one. Either way. But people started going up harder. There was a lot of, trading of fucking support for the throne. I ended up I was the second person to give Ryan a support for the throne because I was going to attack the Nebula. Because I needed these first tier 2 objective was get 7 structures out. And I was like, I need to take that planet because it's not mine, so it's a tactical action in which I'm taking it with a mech, and then I get to build a PDS. And I was like, I need to do this. But he has enough stuff that's adjacent with PDSs that if he was firing at me, there's a chance my shit would die.
Yeah.
So I was like, and also he needed it for he wanted to get a structure objective, and I'm like, well, I'm taking this so that I can get it. You're not getting that objective anymore. Here is my support for the throne to basically, you were gonna get a point here. Now you get a point from here for this card instead.
Yeah.
But then it also meant if he ever went to attack me, then he'd lose that point. So I was like, now I'm not as worried about him attacking me for the win, right?
Yeah.
And near the end of the game, we had an agenda come up that was everybody who votes yes gets a victory point. Everybody that votes no, if that wins, everybody that voted yes loses a victory point.
Yeah.
And Paul was the speaker, or Pat was the speaker. No, Pat was the speaker. Yeah, because he was the last one to vote. And the problem is that everybody, it was Wes, Thursby, and I, and then after us 3, all of the planets were, so many planets were with the other 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Paul didn't count because he wasn't voting. He did bring up a good point later that we could have all just said, hey, Paul can't get a victory point from this. How about everybody gets a victory point except for Paul? That would have been pretty funny. But that didn't end up happening. What happened instead was it got to, Wes, Thursby, and I were talking about it, and it was just we're sort of fucked because anything that we do can get counteracted by somebody else, right? If we all voted yes, then everybody else behind us could be like no, and then we all lose a point. If we vote no, then everybody else beyond us could vote yes, and they get a point and we don't, right? Basically, Ryan was the sort of linchpin in that. At first, he was the first tied on however he wanted it to switch. So Wes, Thursby, and I all voted no, and then it was Ryan, Eric, Travis, and Pat all started talking, and it was basically well, look, they all voted no. We can all just vote yes, and we'll all get a point. And so that's what Ryan did. And so I want to say it was 41 points against, and then it was Ryan, Eric, and Travis all voted yes. So 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it ended up being 45-4, 41 against, and then it was trying to be a wave of all 3 of them just trying to do it, and then before Pat said anything, we were all just I was just Pat, fucking stop. Think about it. He had enough votes he was the actual linchpin in it because he could determine whether it passed or failed.
Yeah.
And we were telling him because he was sort of far, he was farther behind than anyone. I think at that point he was at 4, and Ryan and Travis were both at 7. And Ryan actually went from 6 to 7 by getting Travis's his support for the throne. That was the 3rd one that he got. Also, quick note, that then meant that Ryan had the support of the throne of all 3 of his neighbors, and those are the only people he could attack if he wanted to.
Uh-huh.
So it basically meant if he attacked anybody, he was losing a point. So it was well, your expansion game is gone now. You can't do anything with that. So we get to Pat, and we're like, Pat, you are farther behind than these gentlemen, And if you get a point, it's going to help you, but it's going to help these other guys, especially Travis and Ryan, so much more. Because if they would be at 8 points, and then stage 2 objectives were coming out so that they had the ability to win on a single turn, right?
Yeah.
So we convince him to, like, we get him on our side, and we're like, he votes against. And so they all lose a point, and then Ryan has a card that is basically like, it's like hostile agenda or something like that. That basically is, if you vote after an outcome of a vote happens and it was not in your favor, instead treat the outcome as just no effect, and then just discard it. As in, like, actually nothing happens, guys.
Yeah.
And so, so he did that, and then Wes played a sabotage card. But then, because the turtles are dickheads, they also have a faction tech that's basically a sabotage, but it can sabotage, like, it just cancels a card.
Yep.
But it's the only thing that can cancel a sabotage card. Right? So, and nobody else had a sabotage card, so that card was able to be played. And so what happened at the end was that nobody gained any points except for Ryan, who got that support of the throne, and then Pat, who got a bunch of, like, he maybe got a trade good or two, but he got like 2 promissory notes that were good for him, because we're like, Pat, we want you to vote this way, so do it. Yeah. So it ended up well for those 2, but nobody else, and it was real interesting.
I have played that card before. We're like, all your deals still happen. This agenda does not.
Exactly.
Fuck everyone, and that's it.
Yeah. And then game ended up, there were a bunch of people at 8 points. I was at 7 points at a turn. The final turn is, so basically what happened on the final turn is that Paul was at 8 points, Ryan was at 9 points. I think one other person, no, it was that, and then some people were at 7 points, including me. And what I needed to happen in order for the game to win in my favor, right, was I needed it to go to the next status phase. So I couldn't take 8 because everybody would score before me. So I ended up taking 1 as leadership. Now my faction ability, my hero ability, is I get to just execute a strategy card of whatever I want, just as an action. And I can then choose whoever I want to activate the secondary of it, and then I purge the card. So I chose Legendary, but then I was able to do 8, or then I was able to do the Imperial, just as an action, right? Mm-hmm. So I did that. I had to scored a 1-point objective that brought me from 7 to 8 points, and then I drew a secret objective, and I basically was like, I had 1 secret objective that was like an action phase, and then 1 that was a status phase. And it was basically, I needed to score the action one sometime during the round, and then I was going to score the status phase one first when it got to status phase, and then win that way. That was like my only path to victory. It was very narrow.
Yeah.
But this is unfortunately where playing with newer people, like, it can sort of, like, they don't realize that, because this game is just a lot, right? So
it is an extreme a lot.
And especially because the game ended up taking about 8.5 hours or so.
Which,
and
for an 8-player game,
it wasn't bad. But like that last 30 minutes, people are like, it's draining people, so they're not playing it full. They're not playing their A game at that point.
Yeah.
The 8 Imperial card, I had politics in the previous phase, so I was the speaker. So I chose leadership first, because that's what I was like. This is the only way I can win is this track happens. And then 4 other people went, and none of them chose Imperial. And
which usually to win, that's your
well, and at least 2 or 3 of them had a and it was at least 2 of them could have won had they grabbed that card, but they just didn't think about it, right? They weren't like, it wasn't like, oh, I need to do these things right now, not looking at that card as like the end game. And it's a lot of rules get said, and like one person didn't realize that like it let you score the objectives in the action phase. But it's like it. People did it multiple times, but it's just they probably weren't just paying attention or didn't understand that that's what was going on. So, and so I ended up going to Paul. And there was one objective that was just score 16 resources, which he had a shitload. But also the necrovirus fucking have so many goddamn command counters, because whenever they would research tech, it lets them just get command counters.
Yep.
And he had cards that let him research tech, or just playing off of like, oh yeah, I'll spend one strategy thing to get 3, or one strategy and 4 resources to get 3 command counters, right?
Sure.
So it went to him, and then it was basically at the end of this first round, once it gets to 8, he's gonna win because he'll claim it. He had like 19 resources for a combination of trade goods and his planets. So Ryan, once again, Ryan was at 9 points at this time, so he played his hero ability, which is look at 5 agendas, and then you're going to play 2 of them, and then play them out as if you voted one in whatever order you want it to be. Like you had 1 vote on each of them, whichever way you want it, and then resolve them, and nobody else can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just
turtles.
You're playing 2 laws or directives, whatever you want, and his ability quash. Yes. Is spend a token. Quanch, yes.
Squanch.
Spend a token from your strategy pool to just get rid of an agenda and draw a new one, and so that counts in this instance too. So he was able to look at a total of 9 agendas, and he was basically just he was looking for anything that gave him 1 point. But he couldn't find it, and we did some things to remove his resources, but he was still able to do some necrovirus shenanigans that let him do stuff on his turn, but weren't actions to let him get to those 16 resources and then win the game.
Yay!
Yeah. So it ended up with Paul now a 2-peat winner. At 10, Ryan was at 9. Me and somebody else were at 8. Everybody else was at 7, and then Pat was at 5. So he did not. He made a couple rounds that definitely were not in his favor. But
how many negative points should Paul have because he tried to convince people not to attack him,
right?
Even though he was definitely the one to attack.
Exactly.
That should be default negative 10 points at least.
Yeah, look. All I know is that I was just consistent the entire time. It was just, this is going to help Paul and fuck Paul. And people weren't listening to me, and that is what happens.
Hey, been there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have anything personal about that, Jeff, right?
I think we're even. I took my way with you.
You did, yes.
in one game. But at least it was online, and you could do other things instead of sitting
there. Exactly.
And then I didn't do it with Boyd. I should have had my way with Boyd.
Yeah.
That's what I get for showing weakness.
Exactly.
As the L1, Z1, X.
X Mindnet, yeah. I'll tell you, that game's a lot of fun. One, I feel like it is like a liquid in the sense of however big a table you're playing on, it's not big enough. It's just, it takes up all the space.
It just,
yeah. And then 2, it was, like I said, 8.5 hours to finish, and it was just like, I enjoyed it, but I am exhausted now. I got invited to play games right after that, and I was like,
no,
I'm good.
No.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm glad I played it, because now I definitely won't feel bad about not playing TI4 during MHCC at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I'm also not. So.
Yeah. It was, like I said, I think it was a lot of fun. 1 second. I pulled up. We had a thread about this through the entire setup of it, and so the thread is about 250 replies long.
Okay.
Through the entire thing. But I do agree with Wes. Wes said here that what was it? Oh, he might have said, but basically it was definitely some of the best fun, like one of the better games that I've played of this.
Mm-hmm.
Which I agree with. There wasn't anything too backstabbery, but there was still a lot of that. There was a lot of interesting things that were happening. Combat happened fairly frequently, but it didn't bog down too much. And apparently, I guess somebody made on a subreddit somewhere, or on Board Game Geek or Board Games subreddit, I think they made a thing of like TI4 drinking cards.
Oh yes.
And then one of them was that Ryan tagged me in was it was called Shut Up Sun Tzu, and it was a player offers advice on what you should do during your turn.
I will score this secret objective.
Yeah, exactly. And then another one that I was like, well, here's Paul's, of a player tells you not to act against them because another player's going to win.
Yes. And then they win.
Exactly. There was one downer note, though, is apparently one of the people got their catalytic converter stolen while we were playing.
Which is fucked.
Which is fucked.
Yeah. Why didn't everyone else's get theirs stolen, too, damn it?
Well, no, I'd rather he just didn't get his stolen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think he was parking near the nursery home or something like that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to continue parking where I'm parking now whenever I go over there, so I make sure that doesn't happen.
Great.
So,
yeah. Super.
Yeah. So that is TI4, and that's what we've been playing.
Never again.
Never again. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So what non-board gaming things have you been up to?
Oh, we are entering
Banter.
Banter now. I finished Uncharted 4.
Nice. What'd you think?
I thought it was very good.
Yeah. Did you play Lost Legacy yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I have started up Horizon Forbidden West?
Correct.
Forbidden Stars. Forgotten Waters?
Yeah, it's one of those two.
Yeah.
As an aside, I did see the Uncharted movie, and it was okay.
Okay.
So it's about what you think it would be, but it wasn't as bad as, it was still enjoyable. I enjoyed it, but also I'd see a sequel, but I have no need to see it again otherwise.
Yeah.
So worst way to spend hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it was.
Yeah. And then I delved into the new Horizon. It's very pretty. I'm still in the so there's like the tutorial space area.
And then there's the Daunt, which is a little bit bigger, but it's still...
And then there's the talk to the characters from the previous game area.
Yeah.
And then there's the Daunt. Well, then there's the credit sequence.
Yes.
Where you run by every location from the previous game on your way out.
Yeah.
And then you get to the tutorial part 4 of the Daunt. I am not in the actual Forbidden West yet.
Yep.
But I am going to get there soon.
Yes. Yeah. Have you done the? You haven't done the embassy thing yet.
No,
right?
but I sent the dude to be able to go do that now.
Yeah. So that leads you to
yes.
Yeah. So that main quest leads you to the other area, Jeff. Yeah. Unsurprisingly.
Weird.
Yeah.
Everything is gorgeous. It is the most insanely detailed video game I've ever played in my whole goddamn life.
Now, are you playing? You're playing Resolution, right?
I turned to Performance after I got to the Daunt because I was tired of 30 frames, and now I'm at 60.
And honestly, I could tell a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, I just couldn't tell enough of a difference, and it felt like it was running less than 30. Really, at some times.
Well, I think it was the motion blur, played a lot into that I was just like, I'd rather do 60, and
I did.
Like I said, it's like 90% as good, if not 95.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
I did
it's
play
still
a lot of
fucking
Uncharted
beautiful
through at 30. That one looked.
I thought
fun.
it had 60.
It did.
Okay,
I played it in the resolution mode for a while.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because that came out on PS4, right?
It did.
Yeah.
But
that's weird.
You could play it 30 frames, 60 frames, or 1080, 120, which I did play for a little bit because my TV does 120. And I was like, oh, this looks real fucking smooth. But I just turned it up to the fucking Ultra Max for a lot of the shit, because, I mean, that's what Uncharted is. You want to see all the fucking insane graphic bullshit, especially during the last boss fight, as everything burning down around you.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Here's your treasure.
Yeah, I have to say that there's been a lot of like improvements between Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. And so far I have been a fan of all of them. I really like one thing in particular is I like how much more dynamic the talks the cutscenes, the talking cutscenes just between people.
And it's not even cutscenes; it's just the time you go up and talk to a fucking vendor. It's like they motion capped the fucking vendor.
Yeah, well, not just that too. Is that it was previously that Mass Effect / other look, BioWare sort of look like it just.
My mouth is moving and my hands are doing human-like gestures.
But it's that very much that pan left, pan right, and that's it, right? So this one, the camera's moving, people are doing stuff. It just feels a lot more natural.
Like they turned every one of those conversations into a motion capture session. Which must have been very expensive.
Yeah.
But they have like full facial capture something now, because like the way their faces move is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks real good.
And then you shoot robot dinosaurs.
Which also look real fucking good.
What are the burrowing things? Are those supposed to be like weasels? I mean, or something?
Yes, they look like weasels.
Yeah, okay.
Those look so
hyenas?
Far. There's like hyena things. Have you? I don't want to like. Have you seen any other? Yep, which are basically like giant warthogs, which are real cool.
Then they had the like, I don't know, elk, giraffe, not giraffe.
Yeah, like moose sort of thing.
Moose.
The fire horn.
Antler things.
Yeah,
and then the
shoots
ones you
fireballs.
Ride, that are like
the chargers,
cows.
which are real nice. Yeah. I like those a lot better than the previous ones so far.
You know,
but
in the part where in the credit sequence where she rode by all the spots, I was like, "Oh, it's the valley with the 2 thunder jaws." I remember farming that over and over and over again.
I remember I passed by that. I passed by that, and I was like, I remember overriding one of the thunder jaws and then making them fight each other,
and then just watch it.
And then just watching, and then whenever then the other one killed the other, and then I killed that one. Mm-hmm. And I want to say. Mine killed it because when you overrode it, you were stronger.
It was stronger.
So, yeah.
Well, now there's a skill tree that makes that.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Which, a lot bigger skill tree than previously, but it's also good because skills are not tied to level.
Yep. They're
just
tied to
exclusively
side
level.
quests.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you actually feel like you do something.
Take more time doing useless side quests because it gets you skill points.
Exactly. The grapple is real nice, too.
The pole caster.
Whatever it's called.
The polecaster, I believe is the name of it.
Yes.
It pulls you towards the grapple point.
Yep. That makes, depending on where those things are, it makes going up cliffs a lot better.
Yeah.
They did a real good job with like showing you, like having it be hidden for looking at walls, like for climbing. But then when you click the focus button, it like illuminates what all the climbing things are if you want to see it.
Everything is yellow.
So,
and then in the settings, there's a way to just turn those on at all times.
Yeah.
Without having to.
Yeah.
I turned on Easy Loot, which is just, hey, don't worry about shooting all the little bits off of the monster robot you want to loot, because normally if you kill the robot without shooting the individual bits off, you can't loot them later.
Yep.
Easy Loot just makes it so you kill the monster, you loot all the shit that would have been on there anyways.
Now, it doesn't change the drop rate at all, so like it just means that like you're killing it and you're looting as if you had knocked everything off.
Yes.
So then the normal looting would happen from that. But
yes. Yeah. It just makes it so you don't have to
target shit.
Yeah. I'm too fucking busy to be shooting antlers off every goddamn monster robot I see, alright?
I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I still have it enabled, but
it is technically
good to
custom difficulty. It's not, so it's like outside the regular difficulty modes. But
yeah, well, I think that only affects like if you care about the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? I don't.
I certainly don't either.
Yeah. But yeah, that game has been real good so far.
Yeah.
And have you seen any of the other enemies yet?
No. I've just been in the Daunt, so I don't
Gotcha. Okay, well, I've seen it, like, now that I'm in the West and stuff like that.
There was a snake at the beginning.
Yep.
Yep.
That guy is real cool.
Big giant viper.
Big giant snake, yeah. And then I've also seen the, like, raptor looking dude that isn't the Watcher from the first one. It's like,
yeah, it's got feathers.
Big feathers, and it's giant, and people can ride it. And I'm like, I'm gonna ride that thing.
No, I'm gonna ride it, all right.
Yeah. And then I've seen some birds, and then there's like a kangaroo monster that is
kangaroo robot monster.
Kangaroo robot monster.
I
was like, what the fuck is
ripped like all kangaroos?
As much as a metal bean could be.
Okay, there's metal. There's robot muscles. I think they call them robot muscles or something. There's some loot that's like robot bones and robot sinew, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Yeah, but I'll just tell you this. Going from the Daunt into the Forbidden West, I was just like, oh man, shit feels a lot more dangerous now. I was like, oh, I did feel like I was in like a nursery, just like, oh, we're just playing safe.
A hatchery.
Exactly. Yeah. This one's like, oh fuck.
Even the Daunt's pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at the map, and then I was just like, man, the Daunt's big. And then I started scrolling to the left, and I was like, oh damn.
This map goes.
That goes. I mean, we had to go to the coast, right? We saw San Francisco in the image, so I saw
the curvy road, in fact.
Exactly. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
I can't stop until I get to that curvy road.
Yeah. Peacemaker finished up.
Peacemaker,
real good.
Spoiler
alert. Yeah.
Spoiler alert: the season finale of Peacemaker has happened.
Yep.
The spoiler alert is that it's a season finale and not a series finale.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because it has been renewed for season 2, which is good.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't realize that what's her name, Harcourt. That Harcourt. Yeah, Harcourt. She is now engaged to James Gunn.
Yes, and they'd been dating for like 5 years or something before this.
Did not know.
James Gunn's previous wife, Pam from The Office.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for like 8 years.
Well,
first he gets Pam, and now he's got Harcourt. God damn it. He probably deserves it. He's the hardest working goddamn man in Hollywood.
Yeah. Also,
at least that has quality along.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I saw an image of him, and then I didn't see an image of him for like a year, and then he went from like brown hair to just like straight. Oh yeah,
he definitely dyed that shit for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah,
he's like mid-50s at this point.
Yeah. But it was very good.
I had read something that he was working on the Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 at the same time. So much so that when they were filming the finale for Peacemaker, it was while he was doing they put the sets close enough together so he could do both.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know there was a scene at the end of the finale that Marvel ended up filming, which actually worked out well, which out sort of funny because what was his name? Mern. Thank you. Mern. He is apparently in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and his audition tape was filmed by DC because so it was just a neat little showing that there's at least some cooperation there. So and that cooperation is James Gunn.
Yes. Yes.
And James Gunn related things.
Yes.
So
it's the only good DC stuff that's happened. Yeah. Pretty much.
No, I would. So before this, while the show was going on, I would say that I was like, this is the second best thing of the DC because I still like the Suicide Squad better.
But it's still James Gunn.
Yeah, it's still James Gunn. But now that the season's over, I'm like, this is my favorite thing of the DCEU. Yeah. So,
well, Doom Patrol. They're not the same.
It's not the same. It's Doom Patrol. It just fills a good spot. It is still very, very good.
Yeah,
it fills a spot in my heart that nothing else would.
Yeah,
but I just in terms of just because of how fucking weird it is,
super weird
in such a great way. But I think I still got more out of Peacemaker.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
it,
I would say Peacemaker is Doom Patrol is weird. Peacemaker is also weird, but also I don't know.
I would say it's very good but weird, whereas Doom Patrol is weird but very good.
Yeah. Good because it's weird.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's right. And I'll say this too, like of my comic book shows that have come out, like those would be my top two. Like the DC EU movies are not great, except for the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
But their shows have been on point.
Yeah.
Better than Marvel's. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what Marvel's was.
WandaVision,
Falcon, Captain Falcon.
Yes. Yep.
He gets in his F-Zero car and punches people. I think that's Marvel
Falcon
property
style.
now.
Yep. And then it was Loki.
Loki's very good, but
Loki is very good, but
I think what pushes all the DC stuff over the edge is because they can go hard R. And
exactly. Yeah.
They don't give a fuck, which is why Deadpool was great and Logan, really.
Yeah.
But Disney doesn't really go there very often. We'll see what Moon Knight does, though.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Moon Knight could be good.
Yeah.
In Denver weather update, it was 57 degrees today for about 45 minutes. And now it's 14
12
and snowing.
Yep. 12 over here. Next couple days are going to be like a high of 15, low of 3 or 4.
Yeah. Colder tomorrow with a high of 15.
Yep.
I had to find my underlayers today because I need to work in this.
Yep.
Or I need to go outside every once in a while, at least.
It looks like it won't be until Saturday, and then it'll be above freezing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. This week we had it. We were riding high this winter, and now it's bad.
Yeah.
A lot of snow
anything?
So.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so. How much beer
nothing.
did you get through of that beer I brought?
A good amount. I think I had 2, I think, and then I saw people have them various amounts of time. But also, it's just good to refresh or to refill for JIME stuff too. So
or Descent.
Yeah, whenever we do that,
or whatever we also play.
Yeah, or Kingdom Death, or I don't know, Madara, or Tainted Grail, or any of these other
gods.
Yep. Yeah. Or Unsettled, any of these things. Yeah.
There's no way to know.
No way to know. Should we move on to some news then?
Sure.
All right. What's first up in news, Jeff?
First up in news this week, remember when Kickstarter was like, hey, we're going to get into like fucking crypto and NFTs, but they didn't ever say anything because it was the most useless fucking anything ever, non-committal of what the fuck they were actually going to do.
And a standard like corporate thing of like, we're interested in this, but we don't know the specifics on how we're interested in it yet.
So we're going to say things that are going to make people give us money.
Yeah.
But now they say we're doing blockchain, but we're not doing NFTs.
Which is good.
Yeah,
because after that, especially after that NFT documentary, fuck NFTs.
Line goes up. Which has over 5 million views.
Yep. Which is, that's crazy.
It is sitting at 5.8 million views in 1 month, which I heard best described as, well, if you're not a small child playing with goo or an asshole boxing, you don't get these kind of views. So it's pretty insane what's happening there.
Yep.
But anyways, so they're not going to do NFTs, but they want to blockchain Kickstarter. And the name of this update was, "We won't make changes to Kickstarter without you."
Yeah. Once again, the standard thing of like, we have listened to how much you fucking hate this shit, and it's not no yet, but it's not some of these things, and we want you to help us make sure that we don't do something that you hate.
Yes, we're not going to do it without testing it. We want to have an advisory council made up of a diverse range of Kickstarter users and participants.
Yep.
The new organization will be a public benefit corporation, like Kickstarter. So it's not gonna. So it's going to be like a different corporation that's going to run the blockchain shit, I guess.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I think that's what they were sort of saying in the beginning, the first one, and then they're more expressly saying it now.
Yeah. So we'll see what if this turns into anything.
Yeah,
but crypto kind of sucks too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like they say, it's like we're going to keep the project focused and free of crypto pitfalls. Good fucking luck with that. I think
crypto itself is a giant hole that I'm pretty sure you just throw money into it, and then that's.
But it's like it's the holes within the holes that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. It's very porous. You need to make sure your money hits the correct hole.
Mm-hmm.
That you will never see again. Anyways, last up on news, the Exit series from the Cosmos people, they've announced another year of a whole bunch of shit, because... Alright, now, so we're at Exit games?
Yeah.
Which are your standards. Now we have Exit with puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, not just puzzles, unlike some people that might
But
be
also
confused.
Regular puzzles in there, too.
Yes. Now, we have multiple Exit advent calendars at this point.
Yep. So the first one, which was last year, was the Mystery of the Ice Cave. And then this year's one is The Hunt for the Golden Book. They're both going to be coming in August 2022. And the main reason I'm putting it up here is hey, pay attention, because I got mine from some site, but a lot of advent calendar stuff is when you want to buy it, it's already sold out.
Yeah, you needed to buy that a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But most interesting to me, there will be a Middle-earth Exit game. So, the Lord of the Rings.
Which I want to say, I feel like this is the first, super themed one, in the sense of, of an existing property.
Because it seemed, because I think everything else had its own original thing. I mean, they're all very light. It's let's do the Exit game, but it's a pirate ship underwater, or the Exit game, it's... I literally don't remember anything beyond the pirate ship one.
That's fine. There's a Enchanted Forest, there's a cemetery. Sure. They all have, horror, there's a lot of them that have, horror themes-ish ones. Little spooky. Other ones are just there's a theft on a riverboat. There is just a house that has riddles in it. And
you're always the same guys going through the same houses.
Yeah. Well, so much so. Or is this what you're about to bring up?
So this one, I think it is might be the whole Lord of the Rings. It's Frodo going to the fucking mountain, and you have to do puzzles that Gandalf is saying, because these puzzles are helping Frodo get to Mordor?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's Frodo and the Fellowship are on their way, but they need your help.
Yeah,
to make pieces of paper match other pieces of paper.
Yeah.
So that one is pretty cool, but actually, for me at least, the most interesting one is the Return to the Abandoned Cabin, because one of, if not the first Exit game, was the Abandoned Cabin.
Yeah.
And in quote unquote in universe, this is you going back to the cabin that Mr. Dr. Crazy, whatever his name is, first kept you captive in, and so it's actually going back to it. So I'm real curious to see what hopefully what cool stuff sort of gets referenced from previous ones.
But do you have to replay the Abandoned Cabin so you can understand all the references from the Abandoned Cabin 2?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, yeah.
Or you'd be I remember all these puzzles.
Exactly. There's some of these boxes look like it seems like there could be some pretty interesting stuff in here. So I will continue to get all of these.
Yeah.
So So I'm definitely going to get the advent calendar again. Once again, that only I think that best works 1, maybe 2 people. And I would say do it as the advent thing. I enjoyed that. So yeah.
And if you like jigsaw puzzles,
yeah,
they just do that now.
They also do that. Yes.
That's it for news, which means we go on to Kickstarters. Actual Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Sorry, we move on to crowdfunding. We're going to call those CFs now.
Yep.
Chlorofluorocarbons.
Yum.
CFCs. Anyways, first up in crowdfunding, we have Deep Rock Galactic, which is on Kickstarter.
Hey, that's a video game I know.
Hey, that's a thing from the other thing.
Great reference.
Yeah, sick reference, bro. It is extremely well funded. $2.2 million of its $227 million. It's $227 million goal. Man, they're not going to get there.
They're not. They're about 1% of the way now.
Yeah. $227,000 goal. Over 15,000 backers. Less than a week left to pledge this one, but at its most popular pledge of $174, you can also pledge to get the Deep Rock Galactic board game. Would you believe it is a 1 to 4 player cooperative mining delving game?
What?
What?
That doesn't make any sense at all.
So this game also comes in a standee and mini version, so it is a little cheaper if you want to get the standee version. Its base copy is still about $74, but you'll play as one of the 4 dwarves from the video game. Scout, Engineer, Gunner, and Scout, Engineer, Gunner, Miner?
Driller.
Driller.
Jeff. You were the driller.
Me am Driller. Yes. You'll go through various randomized maps that comes with a fancy neoprene game mat. They're all hexes. You put all that shit down, and as you kind of explore out your planet that you're mining out with all of these wonderful bug creatures on them, it will expand out as you get that. You'll go on the same missions. You're kind of getting the same shit. It's the Nitra, the gold, and then the blue shit that's the actual objective.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. But they've got tokens for all that, and then a bunch of stretch goals that make them into extra fancier versions. There's just a fuckload of minis. All of the minis, of course, are all just 3D renderings. There's no actual minis on this or anything yet, because of course there's not. A lot of dice-based stuff.
I noticed that the mini of Molly can actually store stuff. It has a detachable lid.
Yes, it has a lid that you can put all the shit that you're actually collecting in there, which is cool. The sentry gun for the... What was that, the Scout? Gets the sentry gun?
No, that's the Engineer.
Engineer gets the... Of course. But the Scout also has, like, the little pads that you shoot that let you access areas you can't get to, but those actually go down on the board to let you cross gaps and such, because all of the classes have all of their classic weapons that you would suspect. But the stretch goals are like to get the alternate weapons that you would normally even start with. So I don't know. Basically, one's got a flamethrower, one's got a minigun, one's got a rifle, one's got a shotgun, and then some of those alternates are like a grenade launcher or whatever. Everyone's got a player board where you have your ammo. It has like a little perk system like you would have in the video game, but you go through and you kill shit, come back out. There's a varying level of difficulties.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you like the game, maybe you'll like this. I don't know. Shipping's not awful. It's only about it's about $22 for the US. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of how you specifically play, but you're going to be moving around the board and shooting things using dice that will, I'm sure, make bugs blow up real good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a little torn just because I'm like, I do really enjoy the video game.
Yeah.
And and I hope that this is a good representation of that. I mean, and it's sort of like that thing has appeared in board games previously, right? Like Zombicide, any of those things, it's about doing objectives while still having this endless hordes come across you.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like all this stuff looks, like you said, 3D renders, but they're good 3D renders.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen some 3D renders. They're like, you shouldn't be proud of that.
Yeah. Of course, there is a standee version in case you don't want all the minis. The first thing I saw with all the minis, I was like, the standee version seems like it would be fine.
Yeah,
I don't think I need minis as
for
much.
the enemies. Yeah. anymore. I mean, yeah, the board or the neoprene game mat looks real nice.
Yeah, and at least I think they all the versions come with that.
No, it's just the collector's edition.
Just the collector's edition.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like $25. I think $22, $25, somewhere around there. Yeah. But do we know anybody that's backing this?
No, off the top of my head here. I don't think so.
I hope so.
But you can also pledge for just STL files, so you can print all these minis yourself whenever they come out. That is an option for the game, which is neat.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so like $80 gets you all the STL files for all the minis in the game.
Oh. Well, I mean, for that much, you might as
sorry.
well.
Sorry, I was adding them all up together. It's 15 for the dwarves, 25 for the glyphids, the monster bugs, and it's 40 for all of them.
Okay. Well, that still is not that much cheaper, I feel like. But,
But you can print as many of those minis as you want.
Yes.
Instead of having to, just use what's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure those STL files will never see the light of day beyond your specific pledge.
One thing I do find that's cool is that they have a collector's edition pledge that, includes all of the 3D or all the minis, the expansion, the board, art prints, mouse pad, sleeves, and the STL files. But then you can also, they have a pledge B, which is the same except it doesn't have the art prints and mouse pads, but instead contains plastic token upgrades. So you can, it's giving you a little bit of choice there of you can have the art stuff or you can have the gameplay upgrade stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I don't
need
need
the art things.
Yeah, but they're the same price.
Yep.
Deep Rock Galactic. It's going to be a co-op game. It says December of this year.
Yeah.
It sure does say that.
It sure does, yes.
Last up on crowdfunding today, we have Block by Bloc, I think 3rd edition at this point. This is over on GameFound. Very well funded, $93,000 of its $40,000 goal. Over 2,000 backers. About a week left to pledge this one with its most popular. They don't really have backers on here, but you can get the game for $44. There is an upgrade kit for anyone with the previous game for $16. So $44, I would say, would be its most popular.
Yeah.
So this is a cubified riot simulation game, I guess.
Yeah. It is
cooperative, semi-cooperative strategy game inspired by contemporary protest movements, riots, and popular uprisings. So it's you fighting against the powers that be to take over sections of this city using anthropomorphized cube things that are also police and or rioters. It has been very popular over the years, but its 1st edition came out with a 2nd edition to try and fix things with the game, and now its 2nd edition is coming out with a final, they say final, 3rd edition.
Yep, just to get the definitive one.
Yes.
You still have the 4 faction cards.
Prisoners, neighbors, workers, students, versus the police. With this new edition, they've gone over and tweaked, if not completely overhauled, and thoroughly revised the entire game. They do have the entire rulebook available. With the upgrade pledge, you get, if you have the 1st or 2nd edition, it will bring it up to 3rd edition, comes with all of the rules and components. So it will come with all of the fancy new bits, etc. I think the district tiles aren't new, so kind of basically if you get the upgrade pack, it's just going to be the stuff. It's literally not even going to come in a box.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. So everything that you had can still use, which is nice, and I thought the upgrade price was reasonable for...
Agreed, yeah.
A game getting its 3rd try at getting it right, I guess. Because they keep calling them editions, but I don't know. I never ended up playing the first or second. I know Julie has it.
Right.
But I don't know if they ever got through even playing it.
Yeah, that's right. And it does have a semi-cooperative option too.
Yes.
Of secretly working. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I was sort of like, you can get $16 for like the upgrade, but what if you just got everything for $44?
Right. Yeah.
Do
you want to try this at some point? I still haven't played it.
I don't think they have. They say November of this year, so it'll be out. Around the corner. Block by Block was, I don't know if it was like super well received.
I seem to remember people enjoying it well
enough. It definitely had its group. It came out in 2016.
The first edition?
I think it was the second edition. I don't know when the first edition came out, but
re-implemented by Bloc,
which is the third. Block by Block Uprising is the third.
Yes, yeah. So I don't know. The second one might have just been or the first one might have been I don't know. But yeah, it seemed 7.3. I just know it's a game that just not a lot of people have played.
No,
so.
Yeah, and it was only like crowdfunded, but at least they're trying to like get it right, I guess.
Yes,
it's popular enough to where they can keep going.
And like you said, already 230% funded. So
yeah, it's going to be happening.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, it's area control. There's like a betting and bluffing like mechanic to it, so trying to bet on certain blocks and going back and forth. It's got some good mechanics in there and an interesting theme of, a riot in the streets, taking and fighting the police, which is really only getting more and more popular. So
yes, yeah.
I mean, can't go wrong at this point. But yeah, that third edition, if you have the old, I'm glad that the upgrade price is cheap and not
same, yeah,
not too bad, especially for people spending a lot of money on this game already in previous editions. Block by Block Uprising Game Found. It's real, getting more and more popular today. I also like their just general page for everything better.
Kickstarter
is doing it.
Yep.
And that's going to be it for crowdfunding this week.
There we go. Do you know of any?
There's been no fan feedback
for months, years, even.
Who knows? The last time we heard from anyone.
Did time even exist when someone last sent us an email?
Everyone just gives us specific and instant feedback on our Slack channel, so you should join our Slack channel for that, where we've just created a new workshop channel because Paul was taking over, I don't know, whatever other channel he could about his woodshop. And so when we made when we made a 3D printing channel to sequester him last time, we have now deleted that and made a workshop channel for
there we go, yep.
all project conversation needs.
Yeah. Let's see. So since people haven't been contacting us, where can they, if we've hopefully guilt tripped them enough to do it?
Emails at milehighgameguys.com, Facebook, Mile High Game Guys, Instagram, MHGameGuys.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't post the Twilight Imperium to that. I just posted it to mine. BGG Guild 2731, which we haven't posted on in over a year.
Yep, basically the last time we did a
Q&A.
Well, not just a Q&A, but a stream
a live stream too. Live stream of the games. Yeah.
There's Twitter, which is
MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I am Jeff_MHGG. See, Adrian could have said that too, but he's too lazy. Yeah.
He's too lazy.
He's in Texas, so he's practically he's dead man walking.
We'll just see if he finds QAnon stuff as quickly as we did in BGG Con. So
I think that's it. We have a YouTube, my MH Game Guys.
We got Twitch.
Which twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. We weren't streaming this one because
it was just us two, and we are not the people
Adrian
with the
couldn't
house.
get the studio running, so that's why we couldn't stream this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can check our show notes too for any of the things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
There are links there, links to the Slack, link to most other things.
I would recommend the Slack channel.
Yep.
As we always do.
For a little while, you can check out Punchboard Media for our
end of March, maybe. That might be it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
And then so eventually we'll have to do our own website again.
Uh-oh.
Or just be like, go to Facebook. That'll be fun.
Great. It's not the problem with all social media to begin with, but
exactly. But I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, I think I'm getting into 40K. I think I'm about to go hard. Wizard's Chest is running a Friday thing now.
You can just say no. You haven't started yet.
It's true.
But I feel like that doesn't mean much.
No. I'm probably going to play 40K on a weekly basis here around the corner.
Oh, well, that just means we have to start streaming again, so then you can't.
Yeah. Only you could prevent me from playing 40K on a weekly basis.
Exactly.
Oh, God. Henry Cavill?
Yes.
The Witcher was at the Warhammer
headquarters,
World.
Right?
Headquarters, yeah. There's a bunch of YouTube videos of him.
He's a big Warhammer fan.
Yeah, he's a big mini painter.
Yep. I remember there was an interview that he was just like, he stopped it just to be like, man, this light looks like a ship from Warhammer 40K.
Of course.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that will wrap it up for us. Since Adrian isn't going to finish this up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I guess we'll. So he's been quiet, Adrian. I am still Zach.
And I'm Keeper of Secrets, Jeff.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.